Hey, welcome. My name is Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and I'm a psychologist, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening, and I look at all of life as a spiritual awakening. And so, as Einstein says, you can't solve a problem on the same level that created a problem. And so there's a certain, oh, look at this bird. Oh, there's a number of them right now. It goes to show, like he's showing us that there's a level of consciousness that we can rise above to. Oh, look, the sun just was right here, peeking through. I always just am present with the tenderness of life and with how it presents itself to us right now. But what was coming to my intuition to teach today, because I ask, what's best to teach to you guys today? It's not like teaching. Plato said that all learning is just remembering. You're just remembering what your soul already knows. But you may be deeply asleep and not even know it. We may be deeply asleep, any of us. And so, just be present for a second first, so you can connect to your own deep knowing. Here, I'll show the tree. There's that urge in us always to be speaking. Look at the wind. I have all these important things to say, but if I don't honor this present moment, then what are they? What is it anyway? What's so important? Yes, it came to me through my higher mind, and of course, I want you to be free in your life. I want you to know love. I want you to feel vibrant and not be sucked into your problems and the ebb and flow of life, but be aware on a higher level. Use this time. If this video crossed your path, trust that it crossed your path for a reason. Use this time to be present. But I know that, that looks like a 4-leaf clover. That's so funny. I'll show you. I got a song before with that in it. So this is what was coming to me. Oh, right at 444, right? Is that walk in a way worthy of your calling. Walk in a way worthy of your calling. I only have a few minutes to do the rest of this. Is you have a life here, and you have a high calling on your life, whether you know it or not. Each of us have a high calling on our lives. We're souls in a human body. Oh, that, I was wondering why I was just looking at my earring. I have amethyst in, which is purple, which is royal. You know, you have a royal calling. It says we are called to be kings and priests. And like, I remember Mother Teresa saying in a quote, you know, that we're all called to be saints. You know, people are like, oh, you're a saint. And she's like, we're all called to be saints. And what is a saint? What is a saint? You know, a saint is one that is aligned with divine love. Like, you're in the stream of consciousness of divine love. I brought the scale of consciousness. I don't know if you can see it. If I can remember who wrote this, I'll put it in the notes, in the description, wherever this is. But I know that David Hawkings created it. But shame got cut off from the bottom, right? But it just shows level of consciousness. Like, enlightenment is at the top, and peace and joy and love. And when you're in enlightenment, you're lightened by the load of this world. You know, Jesus said something like, woe, you know, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, come unto me, I will give you rest. I give you rest because you're pulled here and there, every which way, by whatever is pulling on you, whatever is pretending to be important in your life that isn't so, you know. Like, it was pretending to be in my life that I had to be speaking and I have to make this video a certain way. I don't. You know, let the people who aren't going to keep watching it stop watching it. I know that when I quieted my life, I couldn't hear certain videos because I'm like, this is so slow, this is so boring for me. And so I missed out on those things because I didn't quiet my life. But if you've quieted your life enough to get to this part, then I encourage you to listen to the rest and share. Because we're called to walk in a way worthy of our calling. So what if you don't even know what your calling is? How does it mean? What does it mean to walk worthy of that calling? Walk in a way commensurate with that calling. Like I didn't know, I wasn't aware of my own worthiness. In some ways I was, in some ways I was completely blind to it and kept feeling rejection myself. And I know I'm just speaking of me, as for all of us, that's what we all can feel. We can feel rejected from our past, from people not connecting with us and not showing us love. And so we're stuck in this cycle of seeking love and looking for love in all the wrong places, you know, and trying to get high instead of sitting with the pain of that and then getting beyond the pain of that, knowing yourself in your isness as your soul. You are a soul being here that's not missing anything on one level of consciousness. I could talk for hours on each of these sentences. But what I was getting in my mind was a yoke, right? And so there's this saying, look at these leaves falling. There's this saying, do not be unequally yoked. Well, you know, you can think that in your marriage, obviously, you know, if you're yoked to someone, two oxen were yoked and they would bring this thing behind them that would cut into the ground to plant the seeds so that they can all grow really well. Well, if you're unequally yoked, then one oxen, you know, that's not as strong or that will go this way or whatever can pull you off. It has a different direction. And so what was coming to my intuition for us is that, and is that, I just trust it for us, is that when you yoke yourself onto, when you join with something that's less than your calling, less than your high calling, then it will keep pulling you off and keep distracting you and keep pulling you away from whatever gifts you have inside of you that are meant to wake up and be alive here and give back to the world and develop whatever you came here to develop on your soul's journey, whatever reason the divine love had you here, whatever even aligning with love. If you think of God as love, as like the sun that shines through us, the more it's clouded up with all of these lesser things that we're so hooked into, the less that love is going to shine through us, the less other people are going to experience that love and feel it in their lives and know it. The more you're caught up in the everyday problems and the drama that we keep creating because we're caught up in lesser things and we're not walking in a way worthy of our calling. It's like there's some verse that says, some teaching, in all ancient scriptures that say, don't be deceived. A person reaps what they sow. If you keep sowing seeds of looking for quick highs in your life, and this is not saying any of this with judgment. Shame was on the bottom here, and guilt. You can feel ashamed about something that happened to you as a child, and then you bring love and healing into that, or let it go and know that you are not that. You were never that. It was never meant to be. You were never meant to be treated with that kind of disrespect. And you can learn what it is to forgive that person who was acting from within the level of consciousness that they were acting in. It's a low level of consciousness, and you are worth a much higher one. Had they been walking in a manner worthy of their calling, they wouldn't be doing that. And so consider, what does it mean to be unequally yoked in your own life? What if you're yoked to these lower things like anger and desire and fear and grief, and you're staying glued to apathy instead of what David Hawkings was saying in a book called Letting Go, and the Surrendered Life or something, is courage. Anywhere from courage up brings you to these higher level of a positive experience in this world of duality. We're experiencing duality. We come from the oneness, which is God, which is divine love. And so when you move to neutrality or willingness, even if you're willing, like you wake up and you're like, I've got the breath of life. Oh, this is how Latoya said it the other day. Thank God today that the ground is underneath your feet and the earth is not above you. You're not under the ground, So it's like even this willingness to go, okay, what would you have me do today? What is this higher calling? Help me be aware of this higher calling. Let me see what I wrote down, because I wrote down do not be unequally yoked. That's what it tells us not to be. Don't yoke yourself with anything that's less than this purpose that the divine love put inside of you, that is distracting you from this purpose, that's taking you away from that. Now, sometimes we'll be called, like I've been called to learn how to play the guitar. It was just what I was drawn to, and I loved it. But I've had to work a lot to develop that skill. And it might look like, when I was quiet, it might look like I'm being distracted away from making this video for whatever platform you see it on, So you can be called to something higher, but it looks, according to your flesh, like something lower. And it doesn't make sense to your flesh. But it will never be outside of true integrity and love. Real love. Oh yeah, one thing I do, putting the past behind me, I press forward towards the high calling. St. Paul said it that way, the high calling of God through Christ Jesus. And if we don't think of someone like Christ, following a high calling, even I think of Bob Marley interviews when they interviewed him, and he said every song that we write, that we sing, is about higher consciousness, and they ask him, do you consider yourself rich? He said, what are riches, What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? And so what is your soul calling? What is your soul's higher essence? What is the divine calling you to be? How can you be a human being first? A being, and then do the doing out of that stillness, out of that being. All right, just wanted to wake you up in these areas, or give you these seeds. Because sometimes we don't know, we keep going to lesser things, and then we wake up and go, wait, I have a more worthy calling than this. Let's do that. I'm tired of the old. I wish you so much love.